All right, welcome everyone. This is the pre-race briefing webinar for the Try the Parks Don Carter race, which is happening this Saturday. Um, it's going to be a very similar to last year, so it's the exact same course and same race briefing. So if you saw last year, nothing new here. Um, but it's going to be an awesome race. Excited to jump in. Uh, I'll just introduce myself in a minute. We'll talk about pre-race, so everything up until the start line. We'll go through swim, bike, and run, or run, bike, run if you're doing duathlon or swim, bike, whatever. We'll do some brief open tip or general tips, and then open questions, whatever you have. Also, feel free to raise your hand or come off mute during any part if you have questions. I'm here to make sure you guys feel comfortable and get all your questions answered. A little bit about me. So I'm Alex Fuller. I live in Cumming, so North Forsyth area. Um, I'm a former professional triathlete, and I've done the Try the Park series many times. I haven't done one this year. I'm probably going to do the John Tanner 2 race in September. But I've won the series a couple times and done it a lot, so I know the courses well and can answer lots of questions on that. I have 3 kids. I work in logistics. Anyway, that's me. And normally we have another race director on the call, but if there's any questions I can't answer, I'll chat with them and get information specific on that. Uh, Real quick, who is normally on these calls and who's there for the races? So there's a decent chunk of people that they've done lots of these races before, or they're repeating this race. There's other people that haven't done Carter before, but they've done other Try the Parks race. And then there's a lot of people that have never done any Try the Parks race, and maybe this is even their first triathlon ever, which is awesome. A lot of people in that position. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. I'll warn you, it's very addicting. So if this is your first triathlon, watch out. You might get sucked in. Yes, Ivan, first timer. Excellent. Congratulations. The best part of being a first timer is you are guaranteed a personal record or personal best time on the course. So that's always exciting. So welcome. And for everyone that's first timer, there's no stupid questions. Any questions, you have it all. Exactly. You're getting your PR this weekend. Exactly. And then you'll be fighting for a PR the rest of your life. You're like, oh, I wish I was just doing my first one. Um, all right, so yeah, feel free to ask any questions throughout, and then we'll at the end we'll have ample time. Any questions, anything I didn't touch, we can hit. All right, so pre-race. Race is Saturday. Today's Tuesday. So this is my recommendation. If you have a coach, they might have their own thing, but just in general, this is what I would recommend. Tomorrow, I would get all your gear sorted out. Get your bike ready, have everything ready to go. That way, if something's wrong or you're missing something, you have a couple days to make a purchase or get it fixed or whatever. So Wednesday should be gear sorted out day. That website on there, triathlon.racechecklist.com, it's free. It's literally the race checklist I use. There's lots of them, but that's a good one. Then Thursday, you have the option of picking up your race packet. So if you're close to Podium Multisport, that's down in Atlanta, north part of Atlanta, they will have race packet pickup from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also pick it up on Friday at the race course if you're out there, or you can just pick it up the morning of. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's not really that big a deal to pick it up early, but sometimes it's kind of nice if you're in the area or you need to buy something last minute at Podium. So Thursday is probably if you're going to do any, I wouldn't do any hard workouts Thursday or Friday. So tomorrow is probably the last day to do a hard workout, and then you want to recover for Saturday. Then Friday, you want to be very easy on workouts, if any. You want to pack all your gear and get to bed early. So that's kind of my recommendation for the rest of the week. And then we get to race morning. So first over here on the right, we have the weather. It looks like it's going to be great weather. Friday looks like rain. Saturday looks nice and hot and sunny, just like a normal August day in Georgia. Race day, doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's in the 70s. By 8 a.m. when it starts, it'll probably be 71. By the time you're finishing, 75 up to 80. So that'll get a little toasty. Luckily, the run course has a bit of shade. So it actually heat like prior races in the series, heat's a main issue. I don't think heat's going to be the big enemy on Saturday. So, I mean, don't hold that me to that. Heat's always awful, but at least for this race and what the weather looks like, I wouldn't be too worried. I wouldn't be worried about, throwing down an ice vest or whatever, right? It looks fairly doable for Georgia. So race morning, Saturday morning, I would if you're not staying nearby, I would wake up early, I'd get some food in me, and then I would leave the house. Um, I aim to arrive about 6 a.m. That's when they, open up uh, the gates and kind of start everything going. That can be kind of early depending how far you're driving, but the alternative is if you show up at 6:30 or 7, it gets really stressful. And I mean, 7's really late and you're kind of pushing it. So I highly recommend trying to get there. 6 is best case scenario, 6:30 if you run into something, you'll still be fine. When you get there, you can pick up your packet, or if you've already picked up your packet, you just grab your race number and show it to the volunteers in the little tent, and they will give you a timing chip on an elastic band type thing. You're going to put that around your left ankle. So you do need your race bib to pick it up. In your packet, you'll have a sticker for your bike and your helmet. And then you'll have your bib that you wear on the run and only the run. Uh, as far as race day, what to wear, if you have a triathlon kit, that's ideal. You could just compete in a swimsuit. I worry a little bit about chafing, but you can just wear a Speedo if you want to rock that. I've had people lose dares and do the whole race in a Speedo, so it's possible. Not what I recommend, but you can do it. And then day of, kind of my routine, I'll get there, try to hit the porta potty, go pick up my timing chip, body marking, so they put your number on your arm, and then your age on the back of your leg. Then I'll go set up transition. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then I'll put some chamois cream on my kit, maybe hit the bathroom again, hang out for a little bit, and then start doing some warm-ups, maybe some light jogging, or head down to the swim and do some warm-up swims. I have not been watching the chat, so let me see if anyone has questions. Let me know. Now I'm watching it. Then we're going to line up based on your number, and they'll do kind of a pre-race briefing. And again, you can do a warm-up swim. So we'll hit all that in just a minute. So that's kind of from when I get there or when I wake up until kind of 10-15 minutes before race start. That's my routine. Recommend you guys do something similar. So transition. So this is a picture of one of my transitions. So they will be racks, metal racks that you put your bike on. They will be numbered. So if I'm number 3, there will be a rack that says numbers 1 through 6, and every rack has 6 spots for bikes. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but honestly, you just need to have your bike on that rack 1 through 6. So even though I'm number 3, I could still put mine at the first. Number 1 might be like, what the heck, but whatever. That's not my problem. So you do have to be on the rack that has your number in the number range. So, be 102 through 108 or whatever. At the space, there's plenty of room, but there's not a lot of space for 6 bikes on those racks. So just in this picture, that kind of gives you an idea. That's how much space you get. I have a little mat I use or a towel. I have my bike shoes. I have my helmet ready to go to flip on. And then I have my running shoes and then a hat and sunglasses and my race bib. Everything else I'll throw in a backpack, and then I'll just take that backpack out of transition and either leave it with a friend or a family member or just leave it by a tree somewhere, just so it's out of the way. So that's kind of all you want to have in transition. You can't have they don't want you to have a ton of stuff in there because it gets congested and you don't want a lot of stuff in there. So I'll set up transition, make sure everything's good to go. Then I will head down to the water. Transition will close. I think it officially closes about 15 minutes before the race, like so 7:45. But you'll probably want to be heading out of there a little bit earlier. Probably by 7:30, you want to be done and start, head down, get your bearings on the swim, get ready to warm up a little bit. So you can warm up, do some swimming a little bit. They'll have a place to do some warm up swims. Um, then they will do a race briefing. Usually it's around, they aim for 7:45, maybe it's 7:50 sometimes, where they will kind of, there's, when you pick up your packet, there's a sheet in there that kind of explains in short form what I'm talking about today. They'll read through that. They'll have a referee come on and kind of talk for a minute about drafting and being safe. Then they'll have the national anthem play or sung. Then they'll do a pre-race prayer, and then they'll say, "All right, 3 minutes till start," or something like that. And everyone kind of gets ready to go. And then right at 8 o'clock, they will start the race. Um, and we'll talk about the swim in just a second. But before the race starts, there's a big start banner, and you kind of line up in numerical order. So number one, two, three, four, da 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 da, and then everyone's wearing like the same cap color in different waves. It's a 1 by 1 start every 5 seconds. People are going to go in, and you receive your number based on your estimated swim time that you put when you signed up. And the idea there is we'll let the really fast swimmers go first, followed by the slower swimmers, so that there's to minimize people running in each other. So that's kind of the reason it's not lined up for that. So I'll pause there. We're going to jump into the swim next. Any questions from today until 8 a.m. Saturday when the race starts? Any questions about anything pre-race? All right, we'll keep going. Let's see. All right, so swim. It is a fun little triangle. It's pretty straightforward. This is what it looks like. Um, it is probably not going to be wetsuit legal. I don't think it's ever been wetsuit legal. The water will be warm. You can wear a swim skin if you have one of those. With such a short swim, I don't know if it's worth putting on a swim skin because it takes a couple seconds to take off. I don't know if it saves you that much time. If you're like, what is a swim skin? I don't know what that is. Do I need to go buy that? No, you don't go buy it for this. I'm honestly on the fence if it's even worth putting on. If you have it, wear it, if you want. Anyway, so we start every 5 seconds. So the race director will hold out a phone that has a 5 second countdown, and it'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it'll make a little sound like, and person will go, and then the next person will stand up by the start line. He'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the next person will go, and just it keeps going. Takes about 15, 20 minutes to get everyone in the water. So people will still be starting when the first people are coming out, which is kind of fun. You will go clockwise, and you will turn at the big tomato buoys. And I have a picture of those. Let me get my fancy laser pointer. This is it right here. That's a blurry picture, so I'm gonna advance a little bit. This is one of those tomato buoys. So it's like it's very obvious. There's these big rounded tomato buoys. That's where you're going to turn. So it's three right turns, or two right turns. You go out, right turn, and then right turn again. Nope, I'm lying. This is counterclockwise. Forget everything I said. You're going to turn left. So you start here. You start jumping off of a dock, and then you go out. You're going to turn left at the first tomato, and then you're going to see the second one, and then you turn left again, and then you come in, and there's a boat ramp that you come out for the swim exit. This is what it looks like kind of lining up. and then coming out. This is a different race. I grabbed the wrong pictures, but it looks something like this where you're coming out of like a boat ramp. It's going to be paved, and they'll have not like carpet, but like plastic whatever, so that running on the pavement is easy to come out. So swim is 650 yards or 600 yards, 600 or 600 meters, 650-ish yards. Um, the fastest people will be under 10 minutes. The slower folks will be 15 or 20. No big deal. So it's not a crazy long swim. With between the tomato buoys, there will be small little triangle buoys. They're just for sighting. You still want to stay on the left side of them. So just you're going to stay on the left of all the buoys and then turn on the tomatoes. Uh, you knock out the swim and then you run up into transition. You're going to take off your cap, take off your goggles, and then the first thing first thing you want to do when you get to transition is to take your helmet, put your helmet on, and snap it. You are not allowed to touch your bike or like take your bike off of the rack. If you bump it, it's no big deal, but you're not allowed to take the bike. And I can't spell touch on this slide, apparently. You can't take the bike out off the rack until your helmet is snapped on, which is like a safety issue. And then if you're wearing bike shoes or regular shoes, whatever, you get your shoes on, and then you're going to walk or kind of jog your bike to the mountain line. If you're part of a relay, this is where you're going to hand off the timing chip to your relay partner. So you're going to take your bike and you go to the mountain line. This is what it looks like. It's a white sign that says mount here, and there's big white tape on the ground. So you have to walk your bike past that line. Once you're past that, then you can get on and you can ride and take off to the bike course. So that is transition. And then again, the mountain line is also going to be the dismount line. We'll talk about that. So we go off on the bike course. The bike course is 11 miles. It's I think the shortest bike course of anything in the Try the Park series, which is great. So you head out of the park and you're just going to do a couple right turns. Right turn here. Nope. Again, left. Man, I'm bad with my right and left. Left turn here, left turn again, and then a right turn back into the park. At each corner, there will be volunteers and or police. Police will be blocking traffic on the turns and making sure you can turn without stopping. So they'll have police on the corners and volunteers. There's also signs every 2 miles that'll tell you your distance. So 2 miles, 4 miles, 6 miles. And then there'll also be signs saying, hey, left turn coming up, and then the actual left turn. So it's really well marked, and it's well supported. You are on, they are not fully closed roads. It's not the Tour de France, unfortunately. So there could be traffic. But in our experience, that's rare. It's a Saturday morning in a pretty rural area. So maybe once in a while you get a car, but because you have the police cars kind of blocking things and everything, it normally has minimal impact on anyone. But at the same time, you need to follow the laws of driving and make sure that you are safe at all times. Looking at the elevation, there is some rolling hills, a bit of climbing. It's nothing too crazy, but I will call out that the last couple miles are going to be downhill, which is awesome and a lot of fun, and people will be flying super fast, but you're going to want to just right at the end be very careful as you come back into transition that you slow down and don't go too fast. So that's the bike, 11 miles. There's going to be a hill coming out of T1, so your heart rate's going to be pretty high all through the bike. Rolling hills, some good descents, minimal traffic. Drafting. So this is a non-drafting race, meaning you need to be 6 bike lengths or 12 meters behind the person in front of you. And when it's time to pass, I think you actually have 25 seconds. That's wrong. I need to fix that. It's 25 seconds to pass the person in front of you. Otherwise, it is drafting, and the referee can talk about that, or I can answer questions about drafting. Normally, it's not a huge deal. Basically, just give people space, stay 6 bike lengths behind the person in front of you, and then when you're going to pass, you have to commit, and you have 25 seconds to make that pass. No headphones at any point during the race, swim, bike, or run, which is a safety issue. And then again, on that last little part, it's going to be downhill, so we got to be careful to stop before the dismount line. Um, so there's some pictures of the bike. Um, and then just real quick back to that dismount line. So it's going to look like this. So it says mount here on one side. On the other side of the sign, it's going to say dismount here. And you need to stop and get off the bike before you cross that white line. Otherwise, that is a penalty. So this lady is doing a great job. She stopped before the line and is getting off her bike. And so that is the bike portion. Then we go into transition 2. So you're going to get off before the line, walk your bike back to the rack, hang up your bike. Once your bike is hung up, then you can take off your helmet. You can switch shoes if you're going to switch shoes. And then you're going to want to put on your race number belt or your race number. And then a hat or sunglasses or whatever, and off to the run. One thing that if you don't do triathlons very often or haven't ever done one before, you may not have a belt. I recommend getting one of these. This one, here's one at Podium Multisport for $20. You can find on Amazon for like less than 10. It's just kind of elastic band that you can clip on real quick. It's not required. The other option is you can safety pin the bib to your shirt. That just takes more time. So this is a quick way to just throw on the number bib on the run. You do not wear the number bib on the swim. You don't have to wear it, or most people do not wear them on the bike. In Europe, they wear them on the bike. In the US, you don't wear them on the bike. It's just on the run that you need that bib. So that's something to consider purchasing. And then the run course. This is a fun run course. It is one of the few races in the series that is fairly well shaded. So we come out of transition, and then you go up along a paved path that goes through the park. You run up here, and you do actually this time you do take a right turn. You go around this little lollipop, and then you come back down. When you're coming down, you take this little turn here. You come down, and that is 1.5 miles. So you do 2 loops of it. You go back up, you run around, you come back down, and then you come through the finish. So 5K, the first quarter of a mile is fairly steep uphill, and then everything else is fairly flat. On this loop, you have kind of some undulating hills. There's one part that's actually a fairly steep descent for like just a few seconds. But if there's a lot of leaves, that can be a little slippery. So that's something to call out. Maybe be careful. And then you come back. They'll have water stations about every mile. So they'll have one kind of halfway through here. And then they'll have one by the start and finish. So you can grab water at like a half mile in, at a mile in, kind of 2 miles in, 2.5 miles in. So you pass the same water spot at least 4 times, the one right here, and then you have another one down here potentially. So fun little run. That first hill, that first quarter mile will like be really, really it'll raise your heart rate, and it's a legit hill. You'll feel like you're running repeats. But coming down it, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think here's my notes. So the first quarter mile is brutal, flattens out. Watch for the steep downhill on the backside. Water stations every 3/4 of a mile, and then you do it again. It is shady, so there's trees all around, and so heat won't be too bad. So if you're doing the duathlon, then you will do this run course, and they will have a duathlon start banner that you'll start. You'll run this 2 times. then you'll go do the bike, and then you'll come and run it again 2 times. So, yeah, for the duathletes out there, you get to run this loop 4 times. It'll be great. That hill will be your best friend. Um, Here's some pictures. Uh, I mean, it's even more shaded than this. I think this is from a different race actually, so it's more shaded than this, but gives you an idea of kind of what it looks like on the run. The finish line will be this blue arch, um, and you come in, and they'll give you you'll finish. They'll take your timing chip. They'll give you a water bottle, and then they have some snacks and Gatorade, stuff like that. They usually have like bananas, oranges, chips, Oreos. Like it's snacking food. I would potentially bring like actual food as well. You'll be hungry. Um, Maybe even some clothes to change into after. Award ceremonies will be around 11 a.m., maybe even 10:30. This one, it's just shorter race, so they get through it pretty quick. So after you finish, have some fun, meet some people, talk with them, celebrate. You can usually move your stuff out of transition about 10 o'clock, so load up your car. And then photos will be posted within 24 hours. Be sure to tag at Try the Parks and let me know if you crushed it. So that's everything off the top of my head. I'll pause there and we can talk about any questions at all you have. And I see Mick is off mute. Mick, you got any questions? Or I'm just calling you out. So anyone at all have any questions, you can type them in the chat or just pop off mute and we can talk through whatever you want.
Yeah, can you talk about that belt again? Kind of
Yes.
didn't catch that.
So it's just like an elastic they'll be like a race belt. They're all over like Amazon or whatever. But instead of like you have to wear the number bib on the run. So one option is like, all right, I'll take like safety pins and put them in my nice tri suit. Or most people just have a little race belt that they'll snap, or even like you don't even need to snap it. You just like put it over your head. You also could just like you also could like tie it on a piece of string and wrap it around. I don't know, like, but this is what most people use, something like this. And like they're cheap on Amazon, and I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. So that hopefully that helps. Yeah, Big Peach has them, Podium has them, and again, like if you order it tonight on Amazon, I'm sure you get it in time. Sarah, question from you.
Hi there. I'm still new-ish to triathlons, and in my last race, I had something I hadn't experienced before. It was a tighter part of the bike part of the race, and I
Hmm.
was trying to pass on the left, but two gentlemen were riding two across and would not let me. And I just wasn't sure what you're supposed to do in that situation. Or I think they eventually got over to the left. So then I wasn't sure if I could pass on the right if I was trying to verbalize my intent. I was trying to be clear, and I just wasn't really sure what to do if some of those uh, snafus happened again.
The proper procedure is to yell really loud and be like, "Hey guys, move out of my way." No. Um, yeah, no, like it's especially when it gets crowded, it can be like things like that happen. The good news is this isn't the world championship and the referees are really nice. So I like when I did my first race, I was like so petrified the entire time that like the referee's gonna nail me for something like I don't understand. So as far as like, hey, what is the referee right there gonna catch you? No. The biggest thing is like we want everyone to be safe, right? So passing on the right is usually pretty dangerous, and that's why it's illegal or you get penalized for passing on the right because people don't expect for you to come on the right, and that's when a wreck can happen. Um, they were technically violating a rule by blocking you, so that's on them. So that and again, that's why you're like, oh, well, what do I do? It's like, yeah, there's a rule so that things like that don't happen. But people are new and we're forgiving and all that. So I think honestly, use your best judgment. Um, calling out like, "Hey, I want to pass," or "Hey, can you move over?" would probably be what I would do. And then just kind of wait and pass when you can. I wouldn't be stressing about, oh man, am I in the draft zone or anything like that. As these are kind of friendly community races, so you have lots of first timers and they don't know what they don't know, and so things like that are going to happen as you get to larger races that that happens less, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully that helps. I don't think there's the golden answer, but I've you know yelling out is very appropriate, and I've been in many pro races where pros are yelling at each other all the time, so that's just part of the how it works in a nice, respectful way, right? Awesome. What other questions? I see Luis is typing away. Any suggestions to buy a tri suit, like recommended store at Atlanta? So I will say Podium Multisport, who is a sponsor of the race and me, they're probably, and honestly, that's probably the one place in Atlanta you could go in today and buy a triathlon suit that I know of. So I'd recommend them and their address. Let me see where it is. If you just look up Podium Multisport, um, there it is, 1167 Zola Light Place, Northeast A2. It's in Atlanta. So they'll have it in stock, and so like you could go tomorrow and have a tri suit and try a bunch on and make sure it fits. Um, so that's my recommendation. You can also buy them online. I was sponsored by Varlo, which makes tri suits, so I'll give them a shout out. Um, I've also used Castelli, which are really nice. Um, so yeah, if it's your first race, um, there you could spend anywhere from like $100 to like 1,000. Well, you can spend $100 to $500 on a tri suit. If it's your first race, I would go on the low end, make sure this is something you love, make sure it fits you, and then you can always upgrade in future years. So hopefully that helps. Other questions? Yeah, yeah. So it's swim, bike, run, and then making purchases is the fourth discipline. There's also eating. That's like the fifth discipline. Sleeping's the sixth one. So you just swim, bike, run, eat, sleep, and buy things eventually. All right, last call for questions. I will give a couple shout outs to some of the sponsors for the race. So Rock Multisport, ROC, stands for running, open water swimming, and cycling. So swim, bike, run. I help do some assistant coaching there, but Lizzie Nitrate is my coach. She helped me um, go pro, but she also works with 60 or 60, 50, 60 athletes of all different levels. So if you're like, hey, I like this tri thing, I'd like to get a little better, I'd encourage you to check that out and have a intro call with Lizzie. Tell her you heard my wonderful webinar, and she'll be like, oh yeah, he's a silly guy, and I'm like, yeah, I am. And then Podium Multisport and All Three Sports, the same company. They're awesome for supporting this. And then finally, Try the Parks. I don't work for them, so but I really like them. They're like great people, and take suggestions and trying to make like a world-class experience local in Atlanta. And frankly, it's the best race series in this area. I even like them more than Ironman sometimes. So don't tell Ironman that, but Try the Parks is awesome. Um, is the same Try the Mountains? Oh, I don't know. I don't know Try the Mountains, so I'll have to bug you later, Ivan. But anyway, that is the webinar for tonight. I'll post this on YouTube if there's anything you missed you want to rewatch. And if you have any questions, here's my email right here, or you can hit me up on Instagram at Alex Fuller Try. So if you have any late night questions or whatever, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer anything. And thank you so much. Good luck on Saturday. It's going to be great weather, be a lot of fun, and especially if it's your first time, I'm really excited for you because that's just one of the greatest experiences. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you this Saturday.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, guys.